is a secret. I know you like to keep it clean. No prying eyes to keep you honest. What do you hide when you hide with me? If you think you're clever, then you've never weathered anyone like me. I've been training all my life. Guess your numbers aren't right. Cause when she calls mine, I'm not gonna lie. Those pretty eyes, are you scared now? You can't erase all the things you've seen. Do you like my shows and all my monsters? Now you're my latest favorite thing. Do you wanna play misbehave? Say the ways you plan to hurt me, abuse and drain me dry. Now you wanna know if you'll make it out alive. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Don't you want my affection? I thought you said you were mine. Won't you join my collection? La 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 la, you'll be fine. Oops. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
All right. Here we go. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Phantom NJ. And, this, it's another Thursday, and it's been a busy time. Just everybody's doing their best, just trying to get by, get through, doing what you need to do, myself included. Has not always been the easiest thing lately. Yeah. Oh man, it's been a time. But it's Thursday. The weekend is almost here. For some of us, for some it may be a holiday weekend, depending on what your beliefs are. Time for family. That may or may not be a good thing. For those of you who have family struggles, I sympathize. That's never easy, but you do what you can. You try to make the best of it, and hopefully, the long winter is finally ending, and in spite of everything going on, maybe spring and eventually summer will bring some renewal. Speaking of which, we're going to talk a little bit about renewal today. But first, I need to take care of some stuff that I didn't get to because my food came late and then I took entirely too much time to eat it. So, you know how it is. Or maybe you don't. The joys of being a one-man crew is not always having somebody to help, well, not having somebody to help you with getting things ready. So, let's do this. We do have a giveaway. It is a $10 digital product coupon for any PDFs from the Trollord Games site. Trollord Games is a sponsor of this channel, and they are the makers of Castles and Crusades and Amazing Adventures and a couple of other things, including the game Victorious, which I'm hoping they're going to bring back at some point because it's a pretty cool concept. Um, you know, siege engine based games, which is it's a fantastic thing for uh, using a rules light, basically helping make D&D adjacent games rules light by going with a D20 roll without the whole abstraction layer that you find in things like 5e, where you've got perception, intimidation, and all that. Everything's based on attribute checks, so it simplifies things a bit. It's really really easy to learn, and we enjoy the game. So let me see. All right, Scott Wiley, good to see you, sir. We are literally just getting started. Um, I would like to thank my Discord server and the few, the proud, the brave, gotcha, who are regulars on my Discord server. I've talked about some of the things that I've been struggling with lately, and there's been a cry for um, Friday Night Crusades. For those of you who are new here, Friday Night Crusades is something that I started. Was it 2000 and two, not 2000, 2020ish, 2021, um, in a Discord server that, I'm not going to name because honestly, I really don't want to, I really don't want to have anything to do with them. So a different Discord server. Let's just say that. Chris, good to see you. Um, it was basically an open Friday night game that I was running. It was Castles and Crusades, and um, it's something that became a hit, a rather unexpected hit. Honestly, it was the whole game was meant to be, come as you are, when you can, play when you can. Don't worry about it. We did a lot of hand waving, and it went to the point started off where we were having maybe 3 people per week, and sometimes that was a good week. To where by the time I wrapped my set portion of it up, uh, 2 years, 2 full years later, maybe a little further than that, we were having anywhere from we had seven people. I could count there be 7 people every week at least, with rare exceptions, and sometimes as many as 10 and sometimes 12. And if you showed up, I took you. That's just the way it worked. DM John, good to see you. So yeah, I eventually handed it off to I needed to concentrate on other things, and I handed it off, and the game ran for another another year and a half at least or so. Eventually, moved over to my Discord server, and unfortunately, real life took its toll on the our castle keeper. So that game ended, and it's been on hiatus since then. Um, with that being said, uh, I think I've been pondering a couple of things. One, whether I had the time and energy to bring it back. Um, because one of the things that was going on was I felt it was kind of keeping me from doing some of the stuff that I needed to do for the stream, for myself, and that it was causing me issues. One of the things I realized along the way is I kind of need the game. Uh, I talk about the fact that despite being a DM for playing various TTRPGs, starting off with AD&D 1E, playing for over 40 years, uh, being a DM and game runner for pretty much that long. I mean, I was a forever DM, and not necessarily by choice because there just really wasn't anybody else most of the time. I didn't really start getting to play as a player regularly until COVID hit. Um, so I literally played more in as a player more in the last 5 years than I did in the 35 years as a player than I did in the 35 to 37 years preceding it, which should tell you something. Um, but yeah, even so, imposter syndrome is a real thing. It's a pain in the ass, especially when you're creative and especially when you're a game runner because I've talked about the fact that if you enjoy a game that your GM has run, tell them, please. Just tell them something you liked about the game. Because it plays in their brain. They want to know. Nobody wants to have to go beg for positive feedback, but it's important that if you let your GM know and let them know specifically what it was that you enjoyed. If there's something absolutely positive, uh, GMs live for that stuff. I know I live for that stuff. One of the oddities about Friday Night Crusades was the whole idea was that I didn't know who was going to show up in any. Starting off, I didn't know who was going to show up in any given week. Um, it was, you could be gone for months, come back, and the worst thing that the closest thing to a bad thing that might have happened is your character might have fallen behind, and we might need to, give an XP bump, so they could, so that they could catch up. If they were way too far behind the rest of the party. It was show up when you can, when whatever time you were able to get there, whatever time you had to leave. That was fine. We hand waved everything. Um, and the fact that I had a group of players that showed up week after week after week after week with no obligation to, and they would tell me when they weren't going to be there. Again, they were under no obligation to. I didn't even ask them to. Uh, that that does a hell of a thing for your imposter syndrome because when people are showing up and they don't need to be, they're under there's no social contract that they're going to be there. When you have a regular game, there's a kind of a social contract that you're going to show up. I mean, obviously, or at least let the GM know that if you can't be there in a given week. But the general idea is, unless something goes wrong, you're going to be there. This is a game that this was not the case, and yet they still showed up week after week in numbers. Ready to go, going further than one would think. It was a game that was originally because we were bored on Friday nights and we were bored in Discord, and I decided that this might be a fun way to just roll some dice and go through some stuff and have a day. And it became a hell of a lot more than that. And I think I need I think I realized that somewhere along the way that I needed that back. I needed that feeling. And I've got some ideas as far as things that we can do to extend it. So, with that being said, um, well, let's go with the first bit of news. Um, and I'll be posting this in the Discord later. Uh, Friday Night Crusades will be returning 2 weeks from tomorrow. We will be starting on Friday, May 2nd, the first Friday in May. It will be it will be in my Discord. Um, I think everybody currently on, or most of the people online, are in my Discord. But if you're not, it'll be in the Discord. It'll be we're going to go with the same time schedule that we had been going with, 8 p.m. Eastern time till 11. Um, for those who are wondering, for 11 p.m. Eastern, it's a pretty hard stop at 11. It was honestly over the course of 2 years, Hey, Greg, good to see you. It was a very rare thing over the course of the 2.5, 3 years that I ran it that we went beyond the 11 o'clock time. Because I was very cognizant of the fact that people, you know, they didn't they were showing up when they were showing up without having to be asked. They were telling me, when they could and couldn't be there, when they were under no requirement to do so. So I was very respectful of the time, unless it was literally we were going to be able to finish up within 10 minutes or so, or just something really quick. Um, you know, we would save it for the next week. Um, because I didn't want I didn't want people feeling that they were being feeling obligated to stay later. And plus, it was helpful for me because I knew that I had 3 hours. I had 3 hours to get through. 3 hours to do as much as we could, and after that, everything could wait for next week. Um. So with that in mind, I should probably. I kind of threw this together at the last second as far as what we were going to do. Um. All right. So I'm going to probably need to. I may need to fix the overlays here, but we're going to see what we can do here. Hey, that's actually not terrible. All right. Um, I want this. All right. We are in on the Discord. I don't know how well this is actually going to show up on your screens, but what the hell. Um, let's start at the top because where I am right now is in my Discord on the FNC info section. And we're going to see what needs to be edited here in order for us to be ready. All right. I'm hopeful that shows up well for everyone. So, what are Friday Night Crusades? Friday Night Crusades are one-shot adventures that has Siglin. I'm going to change that to me. And by oh, all right. Using the Castle Crusades. Um, we're going to do the Castles and Crusades classic rule set. Hymns Police. uh, oh, actually. So this will be basically any of the rule books up to but not any of the players handbooks up to the first up to the ninth printing. Um so these are the frequently asked questions. Hey Jay, good to see you. Shout out for Lord Gazumba. Actually, you know something? I think I have one for Wiley too. I'm sorry, sir. There we go. I really need to remember that I had that for you, Scott. My apologies. All right. So we got what are Friday Night Crusades? Why Castle and Crusades instead of pick any insert any RPG here? Oh man, no, seriously, you have been a good friend over, you know, basically since the moment I joined the Greyhawk community, and it's an honor to be able to call you friend, and you run, you and Matthias have a fantastic podcast, and it deserves you know, it deserves to be shouted out. So why Castle and Crusades instead of insert any RPG rules that you like here? Um, I mean, this should kind of be obvious to anyone who's been watching this channel long enough. But there's a couple of things that play into this. Primary driver is lack of barrier. They're because of the fact that you can still get the seventh printing for free of the player's handbook. Um, there's no monetary barrier to playing. The only barrier to playing, and this will be probably covered later, is basically being able to get online, being able to download the player's handbook, having some way of rolling dice, and being able to listen in on Discord. CNC is easy to learn. I have taught so many people how to play CNC. It's a number. It's somewhere over 50 now. I know that much, but there's been a whole lot. I I remember putting this one. What's the deal with the double quotes and one shot adventures? Uh, I did start off running published adventures for CNC. That turned out to be something of a mistake. Just because it didn't really play well. It as the group size fluctuated, it ended up being a lot more. The whole idea was to cut down on the amount of work I needed to do to run this game, and running published adventures, especially campaigns. Now we were doing the Troller Games A series, and I had fun with it, but it became more work than it was worth. It things got a lot better. And funny thing is, things got a lot better when we moved over to Greyhawk, and then, of course, I ended up running more published adventures, but that's a different story. Running Temple of Elemental Evil and Castle Zagig might not have been the best ideas I'd come up with, but what the hell? They did have some other, completely homebrew. My intention is for this to be completely homebrew. Um, I might find a module here or there. Curtis! Have to go full Fritz in about 15. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, Mega Dungeons. I don't want to do Mega Dungeons again. Um, it's I don't know. It's one of those things where every time I look at doing a Mega Dungeon, it like I get that old school call to it, and then the reality of it sets in, and it's like, you know, what have I done? What and people get antsy. It's like, all right, we've been doing it. We've been in this one place for however long. Um, I don't know. I don't want to run that type of game. It's if you enjoy it, great. If you enjoy running it, fantastic. Not for me in terms of as far as a game runner. Um, so again, what's the importance of having a session treated as separate entities? So a campaign assumes that the same players will be available from session to session. We have no expectation that this is going to be the case. You don't have to be here every single week. Players jump in and out as they're available. If you get there late, that's fine. If you have to leave early, that's fine. If you get there late and still have to leave early, that's fine too. We hand wave it all the way. Your character is just sort of not there. The running joke was they were in another room at the time and kind of just show up or wander in. If after a while the players started doing their own little riffs on where your character was or where they came from, where their own character happened to appear from. Um, you can play the same character each week. This is it's your character. You go with the one that you wanted. We do not. Um, so we'll talk about. Actually, let me see if I cover it in here. All right. It might be covered on the character. We'll get to the character creation. Frequently asked questions. Are you eligible to play? Yes, you can. If you're in my Discord, or if you're listening here and you are not yet in my Discord, or you see the message somewhere out in the ether, um, and are willing to join the Discord, you are eligible to play. Oh, it's all you need to do is basically just make sure that you go when you join the Discord, go to the rules section, agree to the rules, by hitting the check mark, and it will open up the rest of the Discord for you so that you can see the channel where Friday Night Crusades is being held. That's basically it. As far as what you need in order to play, all you need is the player's handbook. Um, Again, any printing's fine. If the only printing you have is the 10th printing, the non-OGL version, um, it's probably fine if you're not playing a caster. If you're playing a caster, we'll figure something out. I don't know. I mean, it's still the same rule set more or less. It's just the spells are going to be different in terms of different names and such. And some of them work differently too, which is a little annoying, but what can you do? And really, honestly, beyond that, you just need some way of dice, either rolling physical dice. I don't care. You can roll physical dice. We're all on our basically we're all on an honor system here. I'm not sitting here to check to make sure that you're not cheating. I'm gonna trust you, because if you're cheating, all you're doing is basically ruining the game for yourself. That's it. You're just basically you're cheesing the system, and that's not fun. Um, and basically just the desire to have a good time. As I mentioned, it does run on Friday. It will be running on Friday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern till 11 Eastern. And we are going to hold pretty much to that time frame. Again, we are starting on May 2nd. Friday, May 2nd will be, so 2 weeks from tomorrow. So here's the part that is going to need some editing, and I will get to it later. What character classes and races may I play? Any character class and race combo in the player's handbook is available to you to play, except for the assassin. The assassin it just doesn't work. There's there are too many things about the assassin class that are problematic, from a mechanical standpoint, from a party standpoint. It's not this kind of game. It just really doesn't work well. Other classes may be added in the future at the discretion of the castle keeper. Uh, please do not try pestering the castle keeper to add one. So for other classes, there are some from the adventurer's backpack that I will allow. The archer class is allowed. There's the archer class. I think the warrior priest, I'm allowing the warrior priest. I need to take another look at it. I'm okay with the scald and the primal druid. Those are the four that I'm sure of being allowed. I need to take a peek. The ones that I definitely will not be letting are the divine knight, the ethereal knight, and the rune mark. We call it the rune lord or whatever it is. No, is the divine knight and ethereal knight are just broken beyond repair. As far as I'm concerned, and the rune mark, it's problematic because the runes there's like no level system to the runes. So it's a matter of what runes you want to give out and needing to check to see how much they're going to change things. Plus, some of the abilities that the rune mark has just is terrible. The eidetic memory, or the I don't remember if they use eidetic memory or photographic memory or whatever it is. That's just a terrible class skill. Like I don't know what they were thinking with that, but that we're getting off on a tangent. Um, One thing, and I'll probably put a little bit at some point, a little bit more into this is this is going to be this is going to be a Greyhawk based game. I don't know where I'm setting it yet. I don't think I'm setting it in Niron, which is where the Embers of Empire campaign is based, but it will be a World of Greyhawk game. One of the things I do plan on doing though is adding more more classes to the game. Some of them I plan on taking from Dragon Magazine. There are some that I might build off of the using from the second edition complete players book for the different classes. I might work out how some of the kits make turn class variants. Um, I do want to do specialty priests. I do want to do specialty paladins. I don't think all paladins should have the same skill set. As a matter of fact, I'm a little concerned that the paladin in the player's handbook is a little OP. Not o- way too much so, but the not being able to be touched by evil creatures is kind of a bridge too far. It'd be one thing if all evil creatures used weapons, and now were the case, but when vampires, demons, and devils literally cannot touch a paladin at all without being damaged, that's a problem. That's a little overboard. Um, oh no, the mounts will stay. I might work on mounts for like a second mount for higher levels. The first mount will probably always be a horse for at least for human paladins. I might offer for paladins of different races. I might do something other than a war horse or the standard horse. But I'm thinking of having a fly, like a maybe not a flying variant, but a more magical mount at like maybe ninth or 10th level for paladins. That's one of the things I'm considering. But yeah, I want to do specialty priests. Um, I am going to have elementalists. The elementalist is going to really just come right straight from the second edition Tome of Magic. It's pretty straightforward on how to make an elementalist. I've got additional spells because I've got additional spell lists that I'll need to convert to CNC, but in order to fill out the spell list, because unfortunately, as much as I would love to rely on the CNC elemental spell supplement, um, Jim Ward was not exactly paying attention to power levels when he created those spells, and some of them are a bit out of whack. I have considered the idea of um paladins of different alignments, especially for the good alignments. I I may end up going a different route where it's not necessarily paladins of different alignments, but for the good alignments, it'll be depending on their god, who their deity is, and what their alignments are. And it may not necessarily be focused on good either. It could be focused on the lawful aspect. Um, I'm debating on whether or not the Inquisitor is going to be the kind of Inquisitor that Jay has in his game, where it's basically the anti magic, which I think is actually coming from the Paladin complete Paladin handbook. There's an Inquisitor kit there. Jay would be able to confirm Lord Gazan would be able to confirm that. Um, because I'm almost looking at the Inquisitor. I think there might be a third edition supplement with Inquisitors in where it is more really the Inquisition type thing. Um, I really see them as a specialty thing for Foltus followers of Foltus, and putting evil and really honestly not so much evil but uh, agents of chaos to the question, which I think it should be like one of the skills that they have. Haven't figured out what I want to do with that. I've got plans for Heronius, because Heronius kind of begs for a Knights Templar type treatment. You know, but yeah, I want to do I want to do more of that. And I also basically one of the things I wanted to use this for is I need to have if people play the classes, get the feedback that I need from them as far as what they think, because I'd like to eventually offer them in my full on Embers of Empire campaign. But I don't want to just I don't want to create character created in the campaign and realize that it's just kind of way too powerful or way too underwhelming. So we can use this as kind of a test ground. Um, so there's going to be the player's handbook other than the assassin, a few classes from the adventurer's backpack. Um, what are we using to roll up attribute scores? We are going to use 46 reroll ones and drop the lowest die roll. And you'll basically do that once, and then you can assign them as you need to. It's not going to be not rolling them three sets of them and choose the best set. It's going to be 46 reroll ones, drop the lowest number, and then assign them to the six stats as you wish. Um, on the odd chance that your die rolls are still terrible, and it says your abilities aren't the greatest, and you don't have a single 16 in the bunch, you'll raise your highest score to a 16. Again, you'll be on the honor system for those die rolls. On it really, if you decide to cheat and make a super character, all you're really doing is cheating yourself. The character with all 18s isn't all that interesting, and to be fair, thanks to the way CNC works, it's not really a great guarantee of success. Not like it is in other games where the actual number was important. Um, anyone who's played CNC knows about uh, you know, the prime and secondary attributes. Hit points at level 1 will be max hit points. Roll as normal after first level. If that dice roll is below half your maximum HP possible for that level, give yourself half HP rounded down plus your con bonus. So basically you don't have to worry about rolling a 1 on your hit points for a given level. Your character will have reasonably good hit points for their whatever given level they are. Um, Nothing else really about the ranging the scores. Um, we are only doing single class for this. I don't want to deal with I do let dual class or multi-class, whatever you wanna call it, in my campaign. Not my favorite thing, but I do have one person doing it, because it's terrible to level. The XP required for a level gets excruciating, and, that's just not something I wanna deal with. You can roll for starting gold as per the table in the equipment section of the PHP, and then buy your equipment. Class adventure backpacks are available for sale from the adventurers backpack. So I will make those available. Um, yeah. So, oh man, he's like the one person I was willing to let do it, because I know he'll joke about the pain of leveling up, but I know he's not really complaining about it. The last thing I want is a player who's going to create it and then do nothing but spend all their time moaning about how painful it is to level, because it looks like, dude, you did it to yourself. Oof. Um, there are going to be some house rules. Um, for the purpose of this, actually, I need to put basically a character class. I'm going to create a character class addendum for the current characters. For these are going to actually hold true. I am changing the ranger to dexterity based. The strength based ranger in CNC doesn't work. It's just not. You can't have a prime attribute that goes to complete and utter waste in terms of the character's current terms of the character's abilities. There are no strength based abilities that the ranger has, and that's just silly. And there are two others. So you either play human ranger or you're playing very suboptimally. And I mean, while that could be fun for somebody, I don't want I don't want them to have to do that if they don't want to. No, just because that ends up getting a little too crunchy, because for a fighter with the Dex Prime, then you start getting into the well. First of all, they start double dipping because Dex is already part of their as far as their AC. So it ends up being both their AC as well as their to hit. Um, and it'd be one thing if I was using finesse weapon rules, I'd be okay with that, but I'm not. There's not going to be any consideration for finesse weapons, because one, I'd have to go and decide what the finesse weapons are, and which ones actually work properly with a dex, as far as like a dex prime. Um, Fighter, the one thing I am changing combat dominance for the fighter. Combat dominance, instead of the creatures with extra for extra attacks, instead of them being level 1, it'll be half the fighter's level, rounded down. So a 6th level fighter would get an extra attack against all creatures that are level 3 and less. Um, I don't know which priests and um which paladins and which elementalists would go first. So if anyone is interested in playing those, and I'll post a little bit more about this in Discord at some point. Um, if you want to create one of those characters and you have for the priest, I'd ask you if you wanted to play a specialty priest or specialty paladin. Um, Please go with one of the more prominent deities. Um, just because if I'm going to do this, I want to get the ones that would have the widest coverage first. And figure out whether or not those are working, as opposing to going with one that is very niche and may end up never getting used again. Um, that's all I ask. Um, but yeah, there's going to be more classes, and I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to have some optional rules, or not optional, some rules, things that I'm changing. Paladins and rangers and even bards will have the spell casting that they had in second edition. Where paladins, I believe paladins rangers had to be level 9 to spell cast. Um, yeah, I'm looking to make some changes to some of this class, because there's some classes that I'm not entirely enthused how they work in CNC. So I might have a complete variant class that is specific to my games, especially when they're set in the world of Greyhawk. So Friday Night Crusades come back May 2nd. What's food is called? Nope, did not mean to do that. FNC info, a channel for putting XP. All right. And dice roll channel, where we do have we do have a dice bot, or the bot will do dice rolls if you wish. So you can kind of see that here. And hopefully this will bring this will bring the game back. Drum up some more interest. Drum up some more interest in this. Drum up some more interest in CNC. Help me find some of the energy and enthusiasm that I've been lacking. Get that serotonin rush from running a game. I haven't decided what level I want us to start off at. Um, Curtis, thanks so much. We will definitely chat soon. Um, yeah. So I think the last time I did Friday Night Crusades, I think we started at level 3. I think I may actually want to start at level 1. Especially since I'm going to be doing some custom classes. I want to see how that feels. Uh, we'll see how that goes. Well, right. I've got some time. Time for that. Hey, Dwarf, my friend, I thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, by the way, we do have the giveaway. Exclamation point ticket to enter. Right now we've got all of one entry. $10 digital. $10 gift card towards any digital product off the. You appreciate Buck Rogers. Towards any digital product off the Troller Game site. Um, for those of you who are not aware, if you're the kind of person who likes getting the digital and physical product, and you do buy the combo, you can apply the $10 coupon towards the combo, where you get both the digital and physical product. It does work on those. So again, exclamation point ticket to enter. I'm going to be giving it away, so I would love to see more people enter the giveaway. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some fun. I've got some ideas, things that we can do with the what do you call it, with the game. It's gonna be, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking getting back to having a more regular game to go along with the Embers of Empire campaign. which I need to schedule. I really need to schedule a session for. I need to find out when people are available. Need to put more groups together. Many things I need. Oh, in other news, because I don't have enough things going on in my life, I did order another 3D printer, even though my first one is still not assembled. It's out of the box. It's on the table, which I did. I assembled the table for it. I have not assembled the Ender 3 printer that I have because I didn't realize it was going to be that complicated to assemble. And when you need a YouTube video to assemble something, might have been a little more complicated than it needed to be. Because the pamphlet is, I believe the pamphlet itself is either Japanese, Chinese, or Korean. I'm not sure. Um, I'd have to go take another look, but it's also not very, even the diagrams on it are not great. So yeah, there's videos for putting this thing together, and I need to get with that particular program, get that together, because then I'll have one printer that hopefully will be the out of the box solution that it claims to be, and then a second one, and then I can start printing some terrain. I got terrain to print. I got a lot of terrain to print. And then we can start, then I need to start looking at storage space for it, painting it, so we can start running games using terrain. Um, this would probably be more for Embers of Empire than Friday Night Crusades, though if I can find a way to do a short table that's visible for the players, I might just well consider doing that. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I've got a bamboo printer. It should be arriving tomorrow. I'm excited. Um, and it looks like Lord Gazumba has gone live. Let us check on that. Just confirm. All right. Yeah. No, I will need to. I need to take a look at that. And there might be an English version, but even then, I don't remember. I know I looked at it and I knew that it was not really well conducive to doing this. Okay, so it looks like Jay is live, but really, he still just got the starter video on. They've got their session going tonight. Um, is there anything else that I'm forgetting? Endlessly complicated looking characters. Uh, my first urge was to say it was Chinese just because they decided to name the company Bamboo or Bamboo Labs, even if it's BAMBU instead of BOO. Um, but that might have been a rather large assumption on my part. So, take that for what it's worth. Well, all right. So what we're gonna do again? Last call! Exclamation point! Ticket to enter. Because right now I've got exactly one person entered, and listen, I'm not. I'll hand over. I'll just hand over the ticket if that's what it's going to be. But um, you got until give it. We'll give it another minute, and then we are going to go over to Lord Gazumba. So hang out for the raid. We'll go to stream ending. Like I said, it is actually Bamboo Lab, but BAMBU instead of Would be funny if they were based in Kensington. All right. Well, uh, DM Chris, congratulations, because You are the winner. Oh man. Oh well. I will get with you afterwards, and I'll send you the code. In the meantime, everybody, please hang out for Lord Zumba. Thank you, everyone, for popping in. Thank you, chatters. Thank you, my Discord peeps who were really, really supportive earlier. Those of you who followed, I really, really appreciate it. And if you're celebrating this weekend, I hope you have a nice time. Um, and I will see you all next week. Again, Friday Night Crusades, May 2nd, it returns. See you on the flip side.